Great day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Two Docs Podcast. I'm Dr. Inky.
I'm Dr. Ellie here. Welcome to the podcast. We talk medical, non-medical, experience, wisdom, foolishness, jokes, and just about anything else.
Yes, that's right. So today, let's talk about something a little bit more serious.
Oh, serious?
Very, very serious one.
Okay.
Do you know that there's one question that when you ask a couple or a couples ask one another, that is highly predictive whether they'll get divorced?
Okay.
That's one question.
One question.
That's one question. All right. But before I actually get into that one question, let's talk about divorce.
Okay.
Right. Divorce is basically a dissolution of marriage.
All right.
Whereby a couple, right, husband and wife, right, male and female. In some countries, you can be female, male, right? Yeah. Whereby you realize that once you get into that contractual marriage and you realize that it's no longer suited for you, then you get divorced.
Yeah.
Do you know there are some countries in the world, right, where the divorce rates are like more than 80%?
That means they
more than 8% of all marriages will end up will dissolve, will end up in a divorce.
Oh.
Many years ago, about 3 years ago, in Portugal, 92%
92
of all marriages will end up in a divorce.
Okay.
92% is really high.
Okay.
But now currently, after the pandemic, 2023, they have dropped to 50%. So yay for Portuguese.
I think they're just not getting married.
Yay for Portuguese.
I think they're just not getting married. I think a lot of people are not getting married nowadays.
No, it's not. It's so the way they track it is how many marriages, and how many divorces per year.
Okay.
So in Portugal, basically,
But they didn't
100 marriages.
But they didn't track how long, right?
No, they didn't track how long.
Yeah.
So what they do is they actually did a comparison. In Portugal, there is 100 marriages registered
this year.
There's 92 divorce registered this year.
Okay.
So that's how they get the 92%. Right now.
So that's just cross section.
Yeah, it's just cross section. Right.
Fair
now,
enough.
a trend. Right. Now the highest trend in the world is actually in Spain. Spain is 86%. So beside Portugal is 86%. Right.
Okay.
Spain is 86%. In countries like Russia is like 75%.
Okay.
Can you guess Malaysia?
Malaysia.
Percentage-wise. And we are actually quite high up. We are like top 40, I think.
25.
No, 25.
25.
That means one of every four marriages will end up dissolved.
Okay.
Now, the world's lowest is India.
India. Oh.
India.
Interesting.
1%. 1% of all marriages potential will get divorced.
Only.
So it's just 1%.
Okay.
So divorce rates are very low. Now divorce can be due to many things.
All right.
Many factors. Can be religious, can be cultural, can be a lot of things. All right. So we wouldn't talk about that because I think every country, every region, every culture, they have their own stuff going
and everything.
On. Yes,
fair enough.
Correct. So let's deal with that one question that if being asked between the couples, right, can highly predict whether it's a divorce.
Okay.
All right. But I will put that as the last one that I'll talk about.
I'm thinking already. What is it that India has? And that question that one they can answer.
You probably have to ask the people in India. Right?
Oh, you mean it's got nothing related to this question?
Yes, nothing related to this particular question.
Now I'm thinking for no reason.
So,
okay, fine. Go.
Right. There are 4 things.
All right, 4 things.
They call it the 4 Horsemen of Divorce. It means when you have one of these 4,
it's a predictive
combination.
index.
Yes, or a combination of these 4.
Okay.
It highly predicts whether you will get divorced.
Okay.
All right. The number 1 is criticism. That means that
more of it or lack of it.
So the more criticism a couple has for one another, the higher the rates of divorce. Example, a criticism is saying that, hey, I do not like the way you cook.
Okay.
I do not like the way you dress.
All right.
And you just criticize directly instead of
sugarcoating it.
Instead of sugarcoating or instead of providing a form of constructive criticism, you just
blurt it out.
Straight out criticize.
Okay.
All right. You straight up criticize. You say, you cook like how you dress bad. All right. So basically, you are very, very straightforward.
Oh, that's a bad line. That's like a double insult.
Yeah. But however, most of the time, these criticisms come very, very softly first. I mean, that means they don't come across as very harsh initially. Right? So when couples tend to criticize one another, a lot of times it can be offhand. That means that when they're out together, be like, why you never finish your vegetables? You always like that one. Ever since the day I know you, never finish your vegetables. Okay. Sometimes it can be in front of other people.
Okay.
That means you criticize your partner in front of family and friends. And that is actually a very high predictive index whether someone gets divorced. So if you see a couple starting to criticize one another, especially in public, right, then you know that there is a problem with their marriage. Some people say that, they're just being open with one another. But it's okay to criticize one another occasionally. It's not okay to criticize one another all the time. All right. So the first horseman is criticism. Number 2 is defensiveness.
Defensiveness.
Right? Defensiveness is something like when you criticize the other person, then that particular spouse becomes defensive.
They are not seeking for clarification.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So it can be something like, example, again, maybe
your food not good today, and then you said
your food is not good today
because the market chicken not good.
Well, you can definitely say that. Right?
Or your taste bud has changed.
Or your taste bud has changed. Or something has changed. All right. So when a couple is being defensive, and especially most of the time, right, the defensiveness doesn't come out like at the end of the statement. The spouse itself, one of the couple, would feel defensive from the moment the other partner opens their mouth. Because hey, you are attacking me again. So basically, what happens is this couple, all right, they both tend to be attacking one another, or it could be even one-sided, whether one couple is attacking the other couple all the time, and the other couple feels very defensive. So when you feel defensive in your relationship, now it doesn't have to be a marriage, right? It even can be like dating. When you feel defensive in your marriage, right, that is a second thing that indicates whether you actually undergo a breakup or you dissolve your marriage.
Actually, that's more than that. Even in careers. In careers, correct, you know, if your boss tells you something and you start to get more defensive rather than being constructive about it, eventually it's only time before you leave the job anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, the third one is actually an escalation from criticism. It's called contempt. You have contempt for your other partner. It means you really dislike whatever the other person is doing. You have contempt. It means it goes along the line. It means your conversation goes along the line. Oh my God, I really don't like the way you dress. Why do you need to do this? I told you so many times, please don't do it, or please don't act like this, but you're still doing it. You know? So that's contempt. Contempt means that there is this feeling of despise.
Somewhat closer to hatred.
Yes, someone very close to it. Now, you do not hate the other person,
per se,
right? There's probably love still there, but there's contempt. Means like, she always dressed like that, or he always farts in his sleep. Shit, I hate it a lot. So this is contempt. So contempt actually is very close to marriage dissolution, really. It means when you have contempt, because basically you only see the bad side of your partner. You don't see the bright side of your partner anymore. All right. Now, number 4, the fourth horseman, and the question that when asked, can predict whether with a 90% accuracy, whether the marriage will dissolve. Basically, when one partner asks the other partner, did you see that beautiful flower by the side of the road just now? Or I point out certain things. Hey, do you see that? That's actually really nice. Now, based on how the partner answers, it will actually reflect whether the marriage will be dissolved or potentially the relationship.
Now I'm curious, what kind of answers?
Generally, there are 2 kinds of answers. One is they'll look over and say, nah, it's okay, meh, it's alright. Or secondly, hey, it is really nice. I totally agree with you. It is really nice.
How about if they didn't see it?
If they didn't see it, never mind. Then you honestly say you didn't see it. Right? But let's say if someone pointed out to you, hey, this thing is nice. Right? And the other partner immediately says, nah, okay only. This is what we call stonewalling. Stonewalling is when the partner no longer is interested. Now, previously the other 3, there is still some form of emotions there. Right? Even though it's a negative emotion, there's an emotion. Now, when you come to stonewalling, it means there's 0 emotions left.
That is going towards
means that's gone already.
Indifference.
Yes, it means that you don't really care whether you stay married or not. So that is stonewalling. Now, how do you figure out whether your relationship is in that particular problem or not? Okay, just pick out something simple. Right? The reason why they ask, do you see that bird just now? Do you see that flower? You know, do you see what car the guy drove, or do you see the dress that lady wore? Something very simple.
Right?
So you just
picking out.
It's just picking out very, very simple things. And your partner, if your partner is still interested in you, your partner will look and then comment, right? Comment. Give a positive comment or say, no, you know what? I don't really like it. No, this particular flower is not my favorite type of flower.
Okay.
Right? But at least they still paid attention. But stonewalling is like,
I don't care.
I don't care. Right? I don't care. You know I don't like flowers. Why are you asking me? So basically, you basically just cut off the conversation right there. So
how accurate is it? You said 90%.
It is really accurate. 90%. Whereby they've done studies whereby whenever a couple reaches that, there's a 90% chance that they will get divorced.
Okay.
So because of that, stonewalling is the last. Right. It means that there is no more. So the first one was criticism, whereby you criticize one another, and secondly, that is whereby defensiveness comes out. Because of all the criticism going back and forth, you end up being defensive. And then because of too much criticism going across, there is contempt. I really don't like that. Right? But the deal breaker of any relationship is whereby there's indifference, stonewalling. When you stonewall, means that you no longer care for your other partner. You no longer care whether you guys continue in the relationship or not. And most of the time, that will actually end up in divorce.
That's interesting, because now when I'm just trying to relate it back to India's 1%. Because when you said the first one was
the highest was
criticized.
Like criticized.
So I know they criticize each other a lot. And then if you're talking about contempt, also quite a fair bit.
Well, I think we are probably overgeneralizing, right? We are probably overgeneralizing the population of India, right?
Or maybe it's only reported.
Well, there is actually, now, for the reason why India has only 1% divorce rates is because there's a cultural backlash when you get divorced. So because there are a lot of marriages, they just stay on.
Okay.
And they also do realize that in cultures with arranged marriages, actually the divorce rates are much lower.
Oh, actually, that's a very interesting thing.
Very
that's a very interesting thing. That's something that I've also read, that in modern days, the love marriages have a higher rate of divorce compared to arranged marriages.
Yes, correct.
And I've got a couple of friends who are arranged marriage.
Yes, I have friends till this day who are arranged marriage.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's interesting because he went to the marriage saying that I don't know who my wife is. I just know her by name. I know her the general look, and that's it.
I think the modern day arranged marriages are a little bit different. They actually meet up a couple of times before they actually agree to get married. And I've heard of arranged marriages whereby after meeting a couple of times they realize we are not right for one another. Then they don't actually get married.
They don't get
so it's a little bit more open-minded these days. But this is from personal point of view. I can understand why arranged marriages work compared to love marriages. Because in a particular love marriage, once your love dies out, then that bond,
the spark is gone.
Yeah, that glue that brought you together in the first place is no longer there. Hence, that's why you are divorced. But when you enter an arranged marriage, love was not there to begin with. But love can grow in an arranged marriage.
It was based on logic.
Yes, it was based on logic.
Both parents decided the logic, logic behind this marriage.
Yes, it was based on familial arrangement, and more often than not, familial arrangements you tend to stick to it.
Actually, the biggest factor in that is what? That the parents like the in-law already. Actually, really, that's true.
Totally true.
The parents already like the in-laws.
Totally true.
Where else, a love marriage, the parents may not like the in-law.
You know what? I think probably this topic can be a topic.
It's a whole topic by itself.
Yeah, it's a whole topic. We will find someone
who in an arranged marriage. In fact, we'll find as many couples as we can.
Yeah. And then we can do a whole hour podcast on it. It'd be fun.
Interesting.
All right, so there you have it for the four horsemen of divorce. All right. So you have any of this particular issue, please go seek marriage counseling.
Yeah.
Please go seek a marriage counseling. Otherwise, there's a very high chance that your break or your relationship will end up in a breakup, or your marriage will end up in a divorce.
The other one I just want to just throw in before we end, contempt. So while you say contempt is something that they verbalize, I think there's also such a thing as silent contempt.
Yep, there is
silent contempt where someone feels it but they don't vocalize it.
That's right.
They don't vocalize it, and I think that's more dangerous than vocalizing.
Correct.
Because when you vocalize, there is a knowledge, and then there's a fairness of allowing things to repair. But if you don't vocalize it, things will eat into you, and you can stonewall later.
That's right. Totally right.
Which falls back into mental health. Okay, great. 4 horsemen of divorce. Please Rewatch it if you want to get much deeper into it. Comment if you have any other factors that you think was a predictive index in terms of dissolution of marriage or friendship or even couplehood.
That's right.
And we'd like to hear from you too. Till then, we'll be back next week on The Two Dogs. Have a good weekend.